All right, yes, we are live. Thanks,
I
Bacon.
haven't done my Joe Pesci imitation yet, but go ahead.
We'll have to save that for midway. We'll do that at the hour mark.
You think I'm funny? You think I'm funny?
That's right. All right, everybody. Welcome to Masculine Geek number 76. One of the best days of the week, Wednesday. One of the best shows on the internet. One of the best shows on the internet, Masculine Geek. We are happy and honored to have on Mr. Quintus Curtius. He is an author, a translator, an attorney, an essayist. He has his own website where he puts out copious amounts of information and good stuff that you need to all go check that out. And actually, one of his latest books is Digest. It's a weighty tome. This is his essays over the, I think, past 4 years, correct, Quintus?
Yeah, that's right, Vince. Yeah.
4 years, travel,
to the present, yeah.
moral philosophy, all kinds of good stuff in here. This is great bedtime reading, actually. So
thank you, sir.
And a damn fine human being too.
Yes.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. And yes, you buy physical copies.
Yep.
This is great for this will stop a bullet, and you can beat someone to death with this as well.
It's got practical uses as well as moral and philosophical uses.
It does. It's an eclectic mix, and we love it. So welcome once again. Welcome. It's good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Vince. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Of course. And we've been talking quite extensively for about a half hour or 40 minutes before the show. We're all wound up.
I think that was getting worked up as well.
We're getting worked up. We're ready. We're ready to discuss life, love, philosophy, everything.
Oh yeah.
Right. Unleash the Kraken.
We're about to unleash. That's right. We're about to unleash the Kraken. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started, especially with very interested in the translating aspect of your life and how you got involved with that.
Oh man, it's I would like to tell you that it's all part of some master plan, that I flow charted it all out and it was all a pre-thought thing. But man, the best way I can explain it, Vince, it just kind of it just developed organically, one thing after the next. I first started really writing back in 2013, I guess about 7 years ago. And at that time, I submitted articles on a weekly basis to, the Return of King's website. That's how I first kind of, I did that for a few years. And then, I decided to, start my own site. I put out my own books. And, I had something of an audience by that time. And then I just really, as you know from my writings, I've always had a real strong love for classical literature, and I felt like someone needed to put these works in a form where they could be conveyed to the average person in a way that nobody else was doing it, because a lot of the translations that are out there on the market now are very old. They're obsolete, they're archaic. No one can understand them. Nobody can read them. And I said to myself, I can do better. I know that I can do better. So I just decided to do that. And it was just love. I just loved the material. And I felt like these works really helped me improve myself as a person, as a human being, as a man. And I felt like if they can do these things for me, then I want to share. I have an obligation to share this stuff with other people. And I've been very lucky that I think that's resonated with a lot of people, and I'm glad that it has, because like we were talking about earlier, a lot of these courses in schools, they don't teach the actual books themselves. They don't actually have you read the books. You have to hear someone's opinion about them, some revisionist, postmodernist person's opinion about it. Well, I don't want to hear their filter. I think people should be actually reading the text themselves and decide for themselves. So I don't know. It really comes down to love, man. I know it sounds a very simple answer, but I just feel like we've got to we've got to, this stuff is not being taught anymore in the schools, and we've got to get it out to people, because if we don't, we're going to lose something. We're going to lose part of ourselves. So that's kind of my thoughts about it.
Absolutely. And some of your work is in libraries and schools now, is it not?
Yeah, it's been there. I've gotten correspondence from instructors who have used On Duties. That seems to have won a lot of acclaim and acceptance, because I think it's simply the fact, I think it's the only readable translation, really, the only one that explains the text. It's understandable, it's readable. Lives of the Great Commanders has been doing very well. And again, this is a text that used to be standard in schools. It used to be kind of a primer of character studies, and a sort of a character devotional, one reader called it. And then in the early 20th century, just vanished. With the decline in classical studies, it kind of just vanished. But if you've seen the book, you can see pictures of frontispieces and title pages of work. This book was, for many centuries in Europe, was a common part of the curriculum, and it went from being universally known to being universally unknown. And I think that's part of the problem, is people don't want it. It bothers some people to hear about things like heroism, duty, sacrifice, struggle, these values that shaped us as men. The people that are running the show now, this stuff makes them uncomfortable. And I find that very disturbing and very, very sick in a lot of ways, because our young men and our young women need to be trained in character and virtues, because otherwise you're going to end up being a weasel.
Or a pudwack.
You look around. I mean, it's this type of weaselly spinelessness. This stuff has real world effects. It has real world consequences. It's not just hypothetical. It really matters. And sometimes you've got to fight it out, even if you know you're going to lose. You have to do something. You have to take a stand. You have to do something. And I think if a lot of these mayors and governors had more of this ethic, we wouldn't be seeing a lot of these problems.
We were just talking about that. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of people just don't want to put in the work.
It seems like, Quintus, you wrote an essay, or in one of your books that I read, I think it was the 35 essays or something like that. One of the 37, I was really struck by the passage that you were talking about, where the ancients, when they're writing history, they weren't trying to be literal, and they weren't trying to be super accurate. What they were trying to do is use history to convey a moral message.
Yes.
And I think that moral messages, this is where people get really hung up with history and telling about myths, like whether it's Arthur or whoever it is. The thing that they really miss is they get hung up on, was that actually what happened? Is that really what happened? Or is it the timeline that happened, or whatever? They're being very literal. It's like, the point that the story is trying to convey is courage, heroism, sacrifice, loyalty, whatever it is, a good moral virtue that inspires young people to champion those values and carry it on with them.
Right.
And so when we teach history instead from a literal, kind of like very prosaic perspective, where it's like, this literally happened at this literal point in history, instead of talking about it from a narrative perspective of like, we're teaching history so that you become like this. But the like we've been talking about, there's this fight over history, because it's like, you get to tell people the history, you get to define who they are. Well, we're at a point where there is no history. There's just a ever eternal present where the party is always right. And we've always been at war with East Asia, or whatever it is.
Right. That's right. That's a good point, TJ. And what I would say, yes, you're absolutely correct. To the ancients, history and even other fields of study like rhetoric, the training of character was a primary goal in the writing of history. Now, that's not that concept has fallen out of fashion and is considered not a priority for historians today, and I that's fine. I get that. But if you actually read these, like, say Plutarch, you read Herodotus, Thucydides, you'll find that moral lessons were foremost in their minds. They actually talk about it all the time. They talk about their interest in conveying moral points, making ethical points. This ethic permeates all of classical literature, and anyone that's even cursorily read through it will be struck by this reality. And that's what I hated so much about a lot of these modern writers who like to write about classical literature. They totally ignore this. They skip over it.
Right.
They pretend it doesn't exist. They skip over it. They try to recalibrate it in politically correct ways. But no, it says it right there. It's right there in the text, and you can't fail to notice it. But that makes what you just said, TJ. That makes people squirm. Because a lot of these people that are that are being tasked with teaching this material, they're not men of sound character themselves. They know they don't measure up. And look, I'm not saying everybody has to be Hercules or Pericles or whatever, but you've got to at least know that there's a standard. They don't even want you to know that there's a normative standard anymore. Right. They don't like that. So they have to abolish that. And so they have to interpret it in such a way that it reinforces the modern politically correct narrative. But no, that's absolutely correct. It's absolutely true that
it's like when
stories in history were told to illustrate moral truths. And it doesn't mean that you have to ignore factually correct things completely, but if you read Sallust, if you read Herodotus, you can tell the moral message was all powerful. It was there. It permeated the entire text. And my feeling is, I think this makes a lot of moderns uncomfortable. It shouldn't challenge you. It
shines a light on them because they have their own moral standards are lacking.
Right.
Well, it convicts them. I mean, it's like, it's a reminder of this is kind of my theory on stuff. There's two different types of ways you can react to somebody who's better than you at something that you want to be good at. You can be inspired to be better at what you're doing, or you can resent them for being better and seek to destroy what they've done. And so this is where I see people tearing down statues of all these different characters that are going on right now, historical figures. And a lot of them, like, when you remove everything else, like, look at their personal moral character. It was funny, like, for example, Taney, Supreme Court Justice Taney, he was the Supreme Court Justice who made the Dred Scott decision opinion. They renamed the ship that was named after him recently, and I did some digging. I found out the lawyer who argued on behalf of Dred Scott described Taney as having an impeccable moral character as a person. His integrity was perfect. I'm like, this gets at the heart of the problem that we have in our society, where we don't care about a person's moral integrity, like these classical virtues that were championed by these people in the past. They instead focus on, well, did they hold the right opinions 200 years afterwards, right?
Yep. And how's it making everyone feel?
And how does it make me feel?
That's,
that's a good point, man. That's true. And look, man, the great thing about this stuff is everybody knows. No one is ever going to fully measure up. But I think it's a very good point what you said, TJ, in the sense that some people will read this material and be inspired and awestruck by it. Like me, when I was younger, when I first was exposed, I was awestruck. I was impressed. I loved. I thought this stuff was great. But some people, you're right. It makes them nervous and uneasy. But look, and that's the beauty. No one is ever going to measure up fully to the standard. But at least, even the ancients didn't measure up. I mean, God only knows. Cicero had his faults. Caesar had his faults. I know them well. You know them well. But at least they tried, and that's what I like. That's what I love about Cicero, with all of his faults. And at this point, I feel like I know him personally.
Right.
Three of his books, working on another one right now. But they at least tried. They cared. They tried. They held out a normative standard. They wanted to inspire others to try to be the best they could be. And what the hell is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Isn't that what they should be doing? Isn't that what people should be doing?
Absolutely.
And there's never a hint of victimhood in any of these. No one ever talks about, somebody was mean to you when you were growing up.
Sticks and stones. Sticks and stones.
I think the most victimhood Caesar ever felt was when Cato the Younger killed himself, and he says, "You've begrudged me the ability to show you mercy," because Julius Caesar had this very
liked to pardon people. Yeah,
and he would pardon people. And Cato the Younger was too principled to allow that. And so he's like, yeah, you cheated me out of the opportunity to show how merciful I am. I think that was the most victimhood moment of Julius
And that was
Caesar's...
still coming from a position of strength and character.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
so you at least have to try. I mean, there needs to be an acknowledgement that standards exist. But I've talked to some of these instructors, these professors, and they're like, George, you don't know how bad it is. We're not even allowed to state that there is a standard. Like you can't judge anybody for anything at any time. So it's like, okay, well, what do you then where then no one's going to improve. If you can't judge anything for anybody for anything, then there's not going to be any improvement. So
exactly,
I just think we've got to count on people's education happening outside the classroom now, because man, inside it's just unrelenting.
Well, we talked about that. We were saying, academia is essentially lost.
Oh, it's
in its present form. It's completely lost.
It's I mean, all I can say is I'm glad that I don't have if you have a child in those programs, or you've got to supplement. The only way to make it work is you have to supplement what they're being taught with, traditional type things. Because otherwise they're not going to get anything. Their ears are going to be filled with just shit.
Yep.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It's
you gotta have some kind of antidote to counter the poison they're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You really do. And speaking of good antidotes, my memory is a bit shakier. What was the first thing you translated?
The first translation I did was in 2015. That was Cicero's Stoic Paradoxes.
Oh, that's right.
Which is a very short. Yeah, it's a short work. It's a very short work, and I figured it was a good, because at that time I had not, no one had ever done anything like that. I was just doing this, just to kind of see what the reception would be. So it was a shorter work, and it contained basically it treats. It's a short work that basically treats some tenets of Stoicism. And I also included an essay in there. Another one of Cicero's essays called "The Dream of Scipio," which is a part of a larger work called "On the Republic." And I put it out there, and it was reasonably well received. I was surprised. And then after that was On Duties, and that just kind of exploded.
That really took off. Yeah,
that really just took off. Yeah, and I think it really, from talking to people, I think what people liked about it was I would get guys that would say, what, this is the first translation of it, because there are others out there. This is the first translation I read where actually I can understand it. Now I can actually understand, and I feel really gratified to hear that, because that's what I wanted to do. Because the funny thing is, these treatises that Cicero wrote, these were designed for the common person. They were designed for the average guy, for guys like us. They were not designed for professional academics or philosophers. And yet over time they became so cobwebbed, and no one had translated them for 100 years. And you'd read them, and the sentences just go on and on with semicolons, and You know what I'm talking about, like these.
Oh yeah.
It's just
You couldn't get through it. You couldn't get through it.
This is unacceptable. So I just decided to start from scratch, and I'm just really happy that. And then On Moral Ends came after that. I did some others in there, Sallust, and I tried to do the ones that I thought had the most relevance, and I thought would resonate the most with guys and girls, today, because you'd be surprised. There are a lot of women who I'm very grateful to have a lot of women readers. You'd be surprised. I mean, they really are trying, and in many ways, they're just as victimized by this lack of knowledge as we are. No one showed them anything. You know what I mean? No, we've all been deprived. We've all been deprived of these things.
Yeah, it's really just it's hard to not get livid with what's been, because I think they go back to the saying that ignorance is bliss, in a sense that if you don't know, then you're like probably like the average person. The reason they don't get angry is because they don't know. But the more you read and the more you realize what could have been, what was out there, that much of what we're doing is rediscovering stuff. Like so much of this ancient wisdom we're rediscovering, because we in a sense and I'm curious about your thoughts on this, Quintus. I feel like we are living in a dark age, except the difference is the barbarians didn't burn our books. We just don't read them.
Right. Well, and part of the reason, TJ, is for that is for many decades we've had this academic class, and here's where I'm going to rip into the academic class, who see themselves as some sort of priesthood, where they deliberately try to make this stuff harder than it be. I mean, I know Vince has been a very conscientious. I just know from talking to him in the past, he actually studies this stuff, and I think he would agree with me when a lot of these writers before me, they would make this stuff harder than it has to be. And it's like, look, a lot of what Cicero, this stuff is not inherently difficult. This is ethical philosophy. It's about here's what's good, here's what's bad, here's what you do when you have a problem. This stuff is not inherently mysterious. We're not dealing with rocket science here. But a lot of these academics would deliberately try to camouflage a lot of classical literature in this convoluted garb of complexity to make themselves more important, make themselves more, and that's unacceptable, because we've got to get this information where it was intended. I mean, this stuff was intended to go into the hands and the minds of the people.
Everybody, yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, everybody.
This stuff was not that's the paradox of all this stuff is it's classical studies are seen by some people as, quote, elitist, but the simple fact is they were never intended. It was just the opposite. They were intended to be. I mean, Cicero was writing to introduce the Roman public to the pleasures of philosophy. That was one of his purposes. He was trying to introduce his countrymen to Greek philosophy and put it in a way that was digestible. And yet that purpose, has in recent centuries has been totally forgotten. And so that's why I feel like I am serving a useful purpose by reversing that tide and getting it back into the hands of the people whom it was intended for. And so this is a real problem. This is a real problem, because we're dying from a lack of character. We're desperate, as recent events have shown. We're desperately in need of training in leadership, character, morals. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to be perfect. And no, because I'm just as flawed as anyone. We're all just as flawed. But at least we have to acknowledge that there's an aspirational goal that we can aspire to.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge this is where they have failed. They've taken away the standard. We have to at least recognize that there is a normative standard that we can try to aspire to. Is there anything greater than that? You tell me what's greater than actually failing to reach a goal that you exert yourself to reach.
I think you might have just explained why people like, or at least I liked, the Thomas Mallory's Le Morte dArthur, which
what a great book that is.
Yeah, and the thing about the book and the author himself, he lived a very flawed, morally flawed life. And the book has a lot of morally flawed characters, but yet they're aspiring to something greater than themselves,
right?
And it ends on that note. Like, I'm a flawed human being, and I was remember reading that when I was in college, and I just thought, wow, like this guy really poured his heart into this book. Like there was no. I think
he wrote it in prison too.
Yeah. He was
shit! I didn't know that.
Thomas Mallory died when he was in prison. He wrote the book while he was in prison as well. But I mean, he was writing a very aspirational book in the sense that not so much that the characters were perfect, but like what they envisioned, what they had hoped for, was so much greater than themselves. And so people would wonder, well, why do we look at these legends and find them, valuable? Because they were trying to aspire to something greater. That it's like a guy who's trying to climb a mountain that's never been conquered, and they don't succeed, but they have tried. They gave it everything they got. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Do we have any?
I think it's may have. Oh, yep.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh. In 20 minutes, we're going to lose him too.
Well, while we were talking beforehand, I had a power surge. I had to deal with jump starting the air back on. We lost Quintus. Man down. Man down.
Never leave a man behind.
He'll be back. I haven't clicked the link. I'll keep my phone up.
So can we do a geek moment?
Yeah, go do a Geek and Tell. TJ has a really cool Geek and Tell.
I have a book a pamphlet I found in a book about World War I planes. It is about the first transatlantic flight.
That's cool.
And it's got a cool quote.
Go ahead and read it.
It says, "To whatever height we may carry human knowledge, I hope we shall never forget those energetic and enterprising men who met the difficulty in its rudest shape." Sidney Smith, Lectures on Moral Philosophy. And this is
when was that written?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. But this is the crew.
That's badass. There's I was going to say, there's no Sawyer pudwackery there. That's for sure.
And this on the back is the map of their flight.
Oh, cool. The flight plan. Nice.
And so, obviously, here is the boat. It's a plane.
The airship. Now, how many stops did they have to make? It looks like just one.
Yeah, they stopped in the Azores, somewhere between Spain and Newfoundland.
Cool. And get some book tape and tape that cover.
Yeah.
Go on. There's a couple archival sites you can go and get some good book tape.
Yeah. It even has the schematics.
Man down. Man down.
Sorry, guys. I think that was my fault.
Yeah, that's okay. TJ, we sometimes do what's called a Geek and Tell. We share something interesting we've been working on, or a hobby we were interested in, or a book. And TJ has a pamphlet about the first transatlantic flight.
Nice. NC4.
What's funny is it started. The top has a quote from Sidney Smith from Lectures on Moral Philosophy. So it's talking about moral philosophy on a transatlantic flight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Well, sorry about that, guys. You can make when you edit this, you can cut that up. I suppose.
There's no editing. This is live, and
we leave
it as
is.
Okay. So it's all part of the show.
Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, we're live.
Might just like that.
Sorry. That's okay. You just did what Ben usually does. During the show.
That's all right.
Usually freezes and drops out at some point.
If I drop out again, I'll just sometimes I have internet interruptions here, and it's just
same here. Yeah,
life in the big city. Yeah. You know how it is.
I gotta ask.
No.
So Rob looks like he's chilling, man. He's got the stogie there working. He's not fazed by anything, man.
No. What are you smoking? Your Olivas?
Yep. one of my Aliva, one of the ones that Bull Rush sent me. So
Okay.
I'm just chilling, absorbing everything you guys are saying because it's just like, wow, I need to buy some of Quintus's books.
Yeah, you do.
I like your background there, Rob. I like that screen
Thanks.
you've got in your background there, man. That's good.
That's from our header from our website. Yeah.
Nice. No,
Yeah,
you
it
guys
works
did
pretty
good setup here. So live, man. Everything when it's live, it ain't Memorex, man. You got
No, you can say
be ready.
fuck, you can say God damn it, and away we go.
Dipshit, knob nibbler. Actually, let's get back to some of these.
Oh, yeah.
let's bring it back to semantics, as it were, and the sort of the history of these words, because you probably single-handedly brought back all. I mean, we've helped a little bit.
Right,
especially the word pudwack. I mean, I remember that from grade school back in the late 70s, early 80s.
You know, it's just one of those things, man, that just came to me somehow on Twitter. I don't remember even how it happened, but you're right. It's one of those words we used growing up, and it's like no one. I says, nobody ever uses that anymore. Just these knob nibbler. That's something I just made up. That's just some crazy shit I made up. And I guess I was inspired by kind of the G Manifesto's craziness. He kind of brought out the craziness in me a little bit too, with some of that stuff. So it just I don't know, just one thing leads to the next, and man, you just get tired of these, these pudwacks that just
these woke pudwacks.
They just there's just so many of them on Twitter. They think that a lot of them are like these, and they're not. A lot of them are not bad guys. Not necessarily bad, but they just, they don't have the experience. They don't have the depth of, and they just they just shoot their mouths off, and, it ends up just coming across like, look, dude, just show a little bit of humility here. It's all this, well, I know I'm an expert on all this. I know what women think. I know what they're going through their minds. Like, dude, no, you don't know.
No.
Okay. You have a vague
superficial
a vague comprehension of this topic.
If you had a real interest and love of women, and knowledge, you're not going to be on Twitter talking about it.
Dude, you know what? Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say this, and again, I'm just speaking for myself. And again, some of your listeners are probably going to disagree with me. I never got the whole talking, mentally cogitating for 50 ways, trying to think about what women think, what they behavior, and all this. Who gives a fuck?
Right there it is. Who gives a fuck?
Knob nibblers like talking about psychology and the mental gymnastics of. Look, there's not a lot of fucking rocket science in this. You see somebody you like, you fucking go over and start talking to her.
Thank you.
Not. If she doesn't, you fucking move on. It's it. There's no debate. You don't have to get into the hypergamy, all this shit. Go fuck yourself. I don't want to. Who gives a shit? You have a subject that at most involves about 40 minutes of fucking conversation. And they stretch it into this mental masturbation that goes on for months. It's like,
oh my God, yes.
Rob's favorite term.
I mean, okay, but you know what? I recognize that for some guys that's a hobby. That's fine. Good luck to them. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. I have my own. Probably some people think, hey, Quintus, Quintus, go fuck yourself. We don't care, and that's fine. That's fine. But just for me, it's like I don't really see. I mean, if you want to attract girls, you just focus on your being. It's not very hard. Be in shape, develop yourself, develop your confidence, and go
fucking talk to them.
There's no reason for this.
Yeah, and like you said, is putting yourself out there and then taking action. I mean, that's it. In a lot of situations, it's taking action.
Everybody's struggling. Everybody's trying to do the best they can. That's it. We don't have to have a 20-minute hate fest against I never liked that. And I never talked about, I never wrote about or talked about any of that shit. I think it's all bullshit. Well, it's not bullshit. It's just, it doesn't deserve the attention of more than say 15 minutes of, in my view. But for some guys, it's a hobby, and that's fine. Some guys just like to talk about psychology. That's cool.
It's like to jerk
I'm
off.
not knocking. I'm not knocking that. That's fine. It's just for me. I'm not interested in that.
You're not going to focus on that either. No.
Yeah, I mean, women look. We know what they want. A guy who's got some backbone. They want. Do women play games? Of course they play games. Everyone's known that. Who doesn't know that? That's kind of as old as history.
Well, I'd say millennial. A lot of younger men, depending on their background. Not to get on this topic too much or obsess over, but a lot of the reason why
we're talking about pud wax and stuff.
Yeah,
TJ.
the reason why
A lot of the millennials
Get with the
no
program,
idea.
man.
I'm a very unusual millennial in the sense that like I first of all I know
TJ, let me stop you there for a minute. You are an 80-year-old man in a 33-year-old body.
Yeah, like I know that Omaha Beach isn't where you go for summer vacation, right? Like I understand that. But like where you go to get a tan. But a lot of them, like the garbage that they're told either from their parents, or they don't have parents, or they have derelict parents, or they got the garbage that they're told. Yeah, they're told like the whole women are perfect. Like I literally saw that in a school once when I was going through it. It had a poster that just said women are perfect. And so that's the stuff that they internalize now. And so a lot of younger men, they have to point out basic stuff that, like the ancients were like, yeah, dude, duh. Like the word hysteria comes from the Greek word.
You're right. You're right about, No, you're right about that, Teach. And I think probably a lot of guys in my generation, again, I'm 51. I think a lot of guys of my age fail to realize that a lot of the younger guys, the Zoomer generation, the guys in their 20s and teens, they're literally starting from zero. I mean, they've been propagandized so much. Maybe they need that discussion. Maybe they need that talk about psychology more than maybe I did, because they've been brainwashed. I mean, these poor guys, young guys now, they have no frame of reference. They're starting from a point of complete second-class citizenry. So maybe I'll be the first to admit that I don't have, again, I can only talk about what my views are, but maybe I tend to underestimate just how stripped of confidence a lot of these younger guys have been. I mean, would you agree with that? I mean, what do you think?
I mean,
we one of the main things here we cannot forget is, especially for Rob and Quintus and I, we didn't have what we're doing now. We didn't have this. I mean, we were raised on books. We were raised on going out and riding our bikes with no helmets.
We went to camps. We went to joined teams. We were always around other guys. It was no. I mean, that's just what got into fights. We did. That was just the way things were. But
exactly, you got into fights.
They never leave the house. They don't do anything.
Well, that's it. We talked about this on Twitter one time. I mean, parents have to yell at their kids to go outside. When we were younger, growing up, our parents yelled us to come inside. Get your goddamn ass inside for dinner. Yeah, and that's how it was. And you wolfed down your food. You went back outside and you played until well after midnight.
Yeah, I would say that
that's true.
With younger men today, it's like it reminds me of a story that someone told me, like where with young elephants at a circus, they would put chains around them. By the time they're an adult, they just have a rope that they can easily break because they've already conditioned them. So
they're conditioned to the chain.
I see that with a lot of young men where they're prepared to be this like basic bitch, for lack of a better word. They're just prepared to be a bit. They're prepared to be like the stories that I heard this weekend. I was telling Vince and Rob about it. Like the stuff that I hear is unbelievable, but it's because they and now people would say in the age of the internet, you have no excuse, but like a part of it is if you reject that narrative, you're
an outcast.
You're kind of an outcast. And so I'm not defending any of this behavior with people, because at the same time, like it kind of reminds me of what John Millis, the movie director once said.
Yeah.
We don't need a book or laws to tell us what's right and wrong. Like human beings deep down inside know what's right and wrong.
They know.
We know what's wrong. And it takes moral courage to say, I know in my heart this is wrong, and I'm going to oppose it whatever the cost. Most men today won't do that, especially young men, because they've never been taught about, they've either had moral.
Well, not only that, TJ, but
not
only that, but it's also something that when Quintus and I and Rob were just talking about very quickly is we were outside and we were fighting amongst ourselves. We learned to set boundaries.
Right.
And we learned to solve problems and negotiate. If you can give a punch and take a punch, that there's a lot of right and wrong in that.
That was the art of negotiation for 10-year-olds.
Yeah. I mean,
Right
but like in when I was in high school, they had a policy: you touch anyone in anger, you're suspended automatically for 3 days. No joke. And so one of the questions was, well, what if somebody attacks you? And said, well, you just need to let them hit you until a school, like someone else, a faculty member comes and pulls them off of you. I mean, that's literally what they said was.
Right.
And so what it's teaching young men is from childhood to high school and beyond, you don't set boundaries. Your parents do, the school does.
Everyone but you, yeah.
And then you need to go
state of learned helplessness.
Right. So they're helpless, right? They're trained to be helpless wimps.
Yep.
Right.
Learned helplessness.
Right. And the thing is, they also then they need to go find a woman who will set their boundaries for them and be their mommy.
Yeah.
I mean,
they will. If you let them, they will. They'll be more than happy to tell you exactly everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so I think that's part of what fires me up is like, I see a lot of young men in that position. It's like, I don't want them to like, it's almost like in a battlefield, and you're in no man's land and you found a way to flank the enemy around the trenches. It's like, hey guys, stop running around where you're going to get shot by the machine gun nest over there. Like, come over here and we can go flank them from the sides. But you can only save so many.
Well, there's a total lack of guidance. There's a total lack of training, lack of guidance, lack of anything. And anyone that tries to instruct on the traditional, that's, of course, that's toxic masculine. So they've succeeded. They're trying to shame that. But I don't know, man. I think the pendulum is going to swing. I think at some point you're going to see a real boomerang effect because it can't go on. Otherwise,
we're starting to see a little bit of it now.
Yeah,
a little pushback. I mean, guys are getting fucking tired. I mean, it's in the media, it's in television shows, it's in Hollywood, it's everywhere.
One thing I would throw out there with that is why I think I agree with Vince is that the signals that they're sending is there will be no compromise, and so the problem is when the pushback comes, they're going to operate under, we can't make any compromises with these people. So it's going to go unfortunately, it's probably going to go. I wouldn't be surprised in 30 years if we went back to like before women's suffrage. It would not surprise me if in 30 years, it's like
I don't know. I mean, I
don't think it'll go back that far.
Well, 30 years is a lot can happen.
All we ever wanted was balance. I think just balance. I mean, just an acknowledgement that there are certain qualities that need to be cultivated. That's all, at least I think, that's all I want. I don't want to, turn the clock back, any of that. I just want, I would be satisfied with just basic recognition of principles of leadership, character, moral development. But it's like the pendulum, the window has shifted so far left that even to suggest that is considered, unbelievably, I don't know, old-fashioned or whatever they want to call it. So it's
considered outdated. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's considered. Exactly. But we're seeing the result of it now. Look at what we've had. We've had, chaos here. Look at the whole COVID crisis that blew up, and then that.
Oh my God.
Exposed a lot of fault lines. And then immediately you had civil unrest that exposed a lot of. I mean, these things have real world effects, and People are going to be studying this for a long time, but we just have a real failure of leadership on so many levels, and it comes back to the fact that the people that are getting into these positions are
that's it.
Leaders.
Garbage in, garbage out. I mean, that's We
Right.
were talking about it before the show about the mayors and governors not having skin in the game, not having any spine or backbone.
No.
And the problem with reactionary movements is they lack nuance. That they typically are just like kind of like what we're seeing now when they're like, oh, we're going to tear down this statue, or we're going to tear them all down. We're going to throw them down. It's like, okay, the reaction is going to be, we're going to put up a statue of the same guy 10 feet higher or taller. Like we're going to not only like it's like, Newton's law, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong on that. Maybe I'm too I'm too I don't want to say optimistic, because I think that reactionary movements are always inevitably have problems. But I mean, the hope would be at some point that there's some sort of an American Renaissance where we start rediscovering not only the ancient wisdom of the Greeks and the Romans, but rediscovering the wisdom of, I don't know, the people who helped make this country possible. Like George Washington, one of his many warnings in history of other founders was, don't get involved in entangling alliances overseas. Don't get into too much debt. Don't get into
pretty basic practical stuff.
Don't get into perpetual wars. The power of taxation is the power to destroy. Like all these warnings and all this other stuff.
Well, nobody listened to that, did they?
No, they didn't. They forgot everything in his farewell address. We violated every single cautionary measure. In his farewell address was violated. But no, I agree with you, TJ. I think at some point we've got to have, we have our own traditions that we have to retrain. They've just got to. There's got to be a understanding that's a priority, and some sort of real reform movement has to happen before that really happens. Until then, it's going to have to be individual people doing it individually on their own,
the best that they can. Yeah,
the torch has to be carried and kept alive by guys like us, because otherwise, no one else is going to do it.
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier, and it's one of the things is getting on social media and running your mouth is not the way to do it. But demonstrating the behavior in your everyday life and choosing what not to say on Twitter, choosing what not to say on social media is also effective. And getting out there and creating personal blogs, writing your own books, getting the message out there yourself as well. But being that leader in your own life, having that power in your own life, that's where this all will cascade and have a ripple effect. Rather than trying to change other people, bringing it closer to home, your own circle of empathy. Take care of the fucking people around you, your family and your friends. Stop worrying about the world. Stop worrying about what the people over overseas are doing, or over in the next state, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
There's a lot of wisdom in that, Vince, and I have to remind myself of that a lot, because it's very easy to get demoralized and sucked into these dead-end debates and discussions and fights. At the end of the day, all we really have is our own sphere of influence that's very limited. And you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I think that's definitely like your writings, what you're doing, what TJ is doing, what Rob and I are doing, and it just being here on Masculine Geek, you guys in the chat, and we're talking about these things. This is where this kind of thing starts, and then has a ripple effect outwards.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree, man. It's just, we gotta, and there is something satisfying too in saying what you think and getting it out there. At some point, you just have to, if you have something to say, you have to say it. You just have to. So
I gotta ask a question. The question that we're all wondering: when you did that one podcast on,
oh shit, here we go. You did 3 of them actually that were really.
Getting Your Mind Right podcast.
Oh, I was so furious.
Oh
man.
my God.
What was it like? Because I know that there was like real life examples that you were thinking, like, what is it that finally just like? Because most of you, I listen to a lot of your podcasts, and most of them are pretty like even keeled, very like. Calm.
You were hot. You were hot. Yeah.
I'm gonna like. I could kind of see the Marine drill sergeant, like commander.
Well, there are times, I won't go into the details, but I had gotten a couple emails from people that kind of just set me off, and it caught me on a day at a time when I just kind of lost it, and I just get all the excuses and the half-stepping and the chicken shit attitudes and the weasel words. And eventually, you just want to rip into somebody, and that's, you're right. That is kind of the environment that I came from. That's what worked on me, because if I can turn on that style, it's because that's what worked on me. I mean, there was nobody that needed those types of, I've had, bald-headed, hugely, muscle-bound drill instructors 1 inch away from my nose screaming in my face, and I know what it's like. And believe me, it works. It cures. It fixes the problem. And I just feel like just a lot of these guys. I don't know. I forget I think also I had gotten a couple emails, and there were some tweets, and I just said, you know what? I have to just rip into some of these people. I'm just gonna say, look, get your goddamn shit together. Stop your whining. Stop your this fucking soy mentality that you have. Get your goddamn. Nobody gives a shit what you think about. Debates about this. If you fucking drop dead, then you drop dead. That's it. Nobody gives a shit.
Urgency.
With a sense of urgency. Yes, that was really.
There's just, because no one, it's like you get these emails from these guys, and this is the thing. It's what I think I've said this before. A lot of these emails that you'll get, it's all this like generalized. The phrase I like to use is generalized malaise. Like, I feel, I come home and my brother and my father's on my back about it. I'm not saying I'm, I feel tired and listless. I don't know. Well, what the fucking point? You feel fucking tired and listless because you eat shit, you don't exercise, you're hunched over, you talk like a goddamn dick licker. Get your fucking ass in there and do something. Prick. What do you mean you feel tired and listless?
That wasn't your response to him, though, was it? In the email?
I don't say
you dick licker.
I don't say.
No, I can look. There are times. This is what the best way I can say it is this. I like to wear different hats. There's a time for spoon feeding. There's a time for the George, the nice guy George. There's a time for the coddling George. There's a time for the helpful.
Rob saying no. There's no time for that.
No, there's not. It's boot in the ass time.
Then there's also a time for you need to get screamed at. You need to get body checked. You need to get some positive encouragement coming from the back side.
You got to tell people to do this. You got to get your shit together.
You need to. You're right. They need to, and and knowing when to use those different techniques depends, because you'd be surprised, and I'm pretty good at calibrating just from reading someone's email. I can tell right away. This is a skill I've always had. I can tell right away if they're being honest, if they're bullshitting, if they're sincere, if they're not. I'm going to know. I can just tell the language, the syntax,
the tone of the email.
After practicing law for 21 years, you have very high bullshit detectors. You know what they're going to say even before they say it.
Yeah.
Okay? You just know. So you can't bullshit. You're not going to bullshit. And that's, you can try. You can think you're bullshitting me, and that's fine. But and a lot of these guys are very, actually 99% of are very nice guys, nice kids. They're good guys. They have legitimate problems. And and they just need someone to listen to them. They just want someone, and that's great. I wish I had that. But then, some of these people, they send you the same questions over and over and over again. I was like, wait a minute, didn't we already cover this, dude? We already talked about this. I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong over here. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a little bit kind of messed up in the head. There's a joke.
Maybe I'm a little stupid.
Maybe I'm a little bit.
Yeah, you think I'm a joker?
Yeah. There was one guy, I think I can't remember exactly the circum, but there was one of the most serious questions, the really darkest question I got. I can't remember. It was a guy about, I think I was the podcast. I'd done a podcast about rebuilding relationships with people. And somebody sent me an email about, I think like he said, he discovered that his father had abused him, I think as a kid or something. And I mean, it was one of the, you can find it on my podcast. I can't remember exactly what the title of it was. I wish I could, but this was a real heartfelt question. This was one that I really had a hard time answering. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to presume to answer that. I think only you can, but these are the things that I would look at before I tried to answer that question, but there are a lot of guys that have, serious issues going on, and they just don't know what direction to take. And I'm very grateful to be, that I respond to every single email that anybody sends me. I respond to. I would never not respond to somebody's email, but and I would never humiliate anybody. I would never reveal anybody's details in a way that would embarrass anybody. And you'll notice everything is always, if I do one of those, scream fests or whatever, it's done in a general way. I would never, do anything to embarrass anybody, because people at some level, everybody has their own shit going on, and you got to kind of respect that, and you got to give people their distance. But the best way to say it is every malaise, every disease has its own remedy. And you got to know what remedy. The doctor sometimes has to use this or that or something else or a combination of that. And that's what I try to do. Get moving, goddammit.
That's right. Distilled down to its very basic form, that is your message, is keep moving forward.
Oh, that's the only thing that works, Vince. The only thing that's ever worked. Again, I can only talk about what's worked for me. Yep. If you notice I never talk about anything that I don't have personal knowledge of. I can't, because I'm not a bullshitter. I can't make up stuff. I don't do that. Yeah. But what I will tell you is what has always worked for me. As long as you keep moving, as long as you keep going forward, eventually your luck will change. The worm turns for everybody. The worm will turn for you. All you have to do, the important thing is you have to stay in the game. If you stay in the game long enough, eventually something will happen. And believe me,
that forward momentum builds on itself.
We've all been through it in here. It's like that scene in The Road Warrior, where Papagella says, "Oh, so you think you're the only one? What burned you out, Max? What was it? You killed one man too many? You've seen your loved ones die. We've all been through it in here. But we're still human beings with dignity. But you're out there with the garbage. You're nothing." Remember that scene? The point is that you've got to keep moving forward. No matter how much horrible shit you go through, if you drop your pack and you sit on your ass and you give up, you're fucked. You're done. You're done.
Yeah.
No matter what, you've got to keep moving. That's it. And if you can do that, then I'm pretty convinced that you can get through almost anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then your troubles are over. So you win either way. We have nothing to fear from death, and we have nothing to fear from life. So you've got to just keep moving forward. And these are the things I wish someone had told me. Part of the reason why I do it, I wish someone had told me these things. I wish, when I first started writing, these books, when I first put out 37, I wanted to write the type of book that I would have wanted to read, and that didn't exist. No one ever talked about being inspired by great exemplars from history. I personally found that very inspiring, but no one really overtly did it in that way. So I wanted to try to put something together that I would have wanted. And I think if you can do something that you like, chances are someone else is going to like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a trained, I'm just a guy who has gotten his head punched in over the years, over the decades in many different ways. And I think that counts for something. So you learn one way or the other. So, I can share what works, and if someone doesn't want it, someone thinks that it's not something, then you know what? Hey, there's the door. Go find somebody else. Go talk to somebody else. Have fun with that.
There's more riders for the bus. Yep.
Yeah. Go talk to some pudwack who's going to sell you, your penis enlargement pills, or your steroid injections, you fucking prick.
Somewhere in Afghanistan.
Yeah, they're going to tell you the location independent pudwackery. Remember these guys? Where are they now? They're all done. They're all closed up. They're all gone.
They're strangely silent right now. Yeah.
They're all full of shit. Yeah. I look 44-hour work week. Fuck your 4-hour work week. No one that's worth anything works 4 hours. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Nobody works and more like, if you're an aggressive achiever, you're doing things, you're going to be working constantly. Let's face it. There are no days off. There's no days off. There are no days off.
No.
You can't learn
so the sooner you puncture these illusions, the sooner you're going to be. But no one wants to be honest with these guys because they want to sell them this shit. The quick fix, all these,
the magic pill. Yeah.
Get rich easy. Get the girls. Get any girl you fucking want.
All this, I hate it. It's all just shit. It's all just fucking.
Well, it's like kind of like
shit.
Yeah,
it's all this, and they're all the same. They all have some problem, and I rediscovered this. No, you didn't rediscover. People caught on to your fucking scammery, and they don't want to listen to you anymore. You go fuck yourself. Get out of here. We don't. These guys. It's like everybody wants a quick. That's the problem. Is everybody wants a quick. There is no quick fixes. There are no cliff notes to life. You've got to go through it. You've got to put in the work, but you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded.
Yeah.
But they don't want to. They don't want to hear that. That's not the type of message that's going to inspire a lot of.
And speaking of inspiration, you have a photo of Teddy Roosevelt on your wall in the back.
Oh yeah,
and that is very inspiring. That gets back to his whole. We were talking about his speech and his essay on the strenuous life.
That's right. Yeah,
when he talked about the hard work that goes into building character and being a man of value.
That's right.
And he was worried about that being very lacking in this new mechanized, industrialized society, that men were becoming feminized.
That's right, and that was back in 1905. Can you imagine what he was?
He is pissed right now. He is pissed right now.
He would be so disappointed in us.
Mm-hmm.
And all we can do is keep his legacy. We can try to honor his memory. And believe me, I had that photo put up there. I had the photo enlarged. I had it framed. Mm-hmm. I've got another one of Abraham Lincoln. And having these icons up there, believe me, it does make you feel good. It's not, because you feel like his eyes are always on you. When I walk in, this is where I do my work here in my little study here. There's a standard to uphold, and you can almost feel him in the background saying, "Don't be an asshole.
Don't be a pudwack.
Don't be a pudwack. Don't disgrace us. Don't let us down.
Yeah.
Don't let us down." And more guys need to hear that message. Because, you should be struggling. You should be suffering. You shouldn't be. There's no. You're not entitled to happiness like it's some birthright. You've got to fight for everything. You've got to fight for everything.
Yeah.
But that's not a message that
Pudwacks want to hear.
Well, one of my favorite quotes from Theodore Roosevelt was in the movie Red Dawn at that plaque that was in the town where it's like, better, to do daring things than to take up arms with these timid souls that know neither victory nor defeat.
Yeah,
and holy cow, is our society not swarming with those timid souls?
Yeah.
That's kind of what frustrates me with people, going back to what we were talking about, where people will argue over the politics of a politician, whereas I look at people, particularly male politicians or leaders, political leaders, like Teddy Roosevelt. I don't care about, aside from his politics, like that's one thing. The man was completely fearless. He was the Secretary of the Navy, from what I understood. He resigned to go fight. Completely fearless in his personal life, and all these other guys. So people talking about politics. You know what? There's a difference between I'll take a politic. I will respect a politician that I don't agree with on his politics if he's absolutely fearless, than a politician who says he believes what I believe or agrees with me on stuff, but he's just a total feckless
Jello back.
Yeah, Jello back. He's not going to stand. He's not going to toe the line. You know what? There's something to be said about having an enemy worthy of your respect.
Yeah.
Even like within politics, where I don't agree with this guy, but man, I want to be like him.
Yeah. No, Theodore Roosevelt. I mean, the achievements alone you could fill a page on. He wrote, I think, 40 books in his life.
Yeah.
He was legitimately an explorer of the Amazon. And if you haven't read the book, TJ, Rob, Vince probably knows. I know he's a big TR fan, but yeah, if you really get a chance, you should check out this book by Candace Millard. She's a very, very good historian who writes about travel, geographical type tales. I've read a couple of her books, but it's called River of Doubt. And that's a story about Roosevelt's expedition with Cândido Rondon down the River of Doubt. Rio da Dúvida is what it's called in Brazil.
River of Doubt.
And it's a fantastic book. It's won numerous awards. It was very, very popular.
Excellent.
But I'd really recommend it. She's written a couple of books. She wrote a book about Winston Churchill's escape from a Boer prisoner of war camp.
That's on his. Yeah, I just got a book.
Okay. I didn't like it as much as the River of Doubt, but it was okay.
I actually just got a book. It's very old. It's called the Explorations of Equatorial Africa, and it was actually used partly as inspiration for the film King Kong. So I'll have to get that on top of that. Like, I think that stuff's fascinating. Like these guys who went out in the middle of nowhere and that's the thing that like is totally lacking today when we're judging somebody morally, where we say, well, is he brave? Like, is this guy a brave guy? Like that doesn't matter at all. Like the fact that, if there was a guy who said like he didn't like who I was or my identity as a like ethnically, religiously, culturally, whatever, but like he was fearless, it's like I can't despise this guy.
Right. Well, that's why you can't back to. You have to look. We're in the era now where you have got to embody these virtues no matter what. You can't back down. This is the age of you. If there's one thing that's been clear, you cannot compromise your principles anymore. Or not that you ever could, but more than ever now.
Yeah.
If you don't stand for something, you're completely worthless, and it's not going to get you anything. In fact, it's going to get you destroyed. At light speed. You have got the world is crying out for men of conviction and valor and character to do something. And it doesn't matter whether
anything.
Exactly. It doesn't matter whether you're successful or not. Or you win. You've got to stand for something, because these politicians who rule by licking their finger and testing the winds. I mean, you saw what that got them. I mean, whenever a real crisis blows in, they're completely worthless, totally worthless.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what's gonna. I mean, if I was gonna anticipate a strong man, one of his defining features is going to be just personal courage. Like he's going to be, it's almost going to be where people will say, I don't really agree with his politics, but he fights. Kind of like what Lincoln said about Grant. Like everybody was like, oh, he's a drinker. He drinks whiskey. He's like, I don't care. The man fights.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I almost feel like that's going to be the
I
American.
cannot spare this man.
Yeah. Like, oh, he drinks too much whiskey. He's like, I'd like to send all that whiskey to all my other Union commanders. You know?
Seriously.
That I've read. I'm reading this biography of Grant right now, and that the author Ron Chernow says that quote is questionable. There's been some dispute whether Lincoln actually said that, but he did say something similar to that, which I liked. I could go get the book and read it to you, but he said something like this. He said, what I like about Grant is wherever he goes, Lincoln's, with his Western, his Kentucky accent.
Yeah.
Lincoln had a very high pitched, reedy voice.
Yeah.
Like wherever, what I like about Lincoln is, what I like about Grant is wherever he goes, things get. Wherever he goes, things get. All my other generals, I'll show them a plan, and they'll say, well, I don't really believe in it, Mr. President, but if you want me to do it, I'll do it. And they'll put everything on me. If it doesn't work out, they put all the responsibility on me.
Grant owned it.
Grant is he takes charge and things get.
Isn't that kind of amazing?
But that's what the author says, and
yeah,
and I can see that he took charge. He made things happen. He acted. He took the initiative. He was itching to get at the enemy. He was.
Oh
itching
yeah, he led from the front. He led from the front.
And what we have now, we have all these chicken shits who don't do anything.
I think it's kind of amazing though, and it's a reminder because I read so much stuff about Lincoln when I was a kid. It's hard for people to read the the Gettysburg Address and feel like this was written by a guy from the Hicks.
Yeah, he wrote some of that in the Willis house there.
Like
the square. Yeah.
This was, rhetorically. I mean, if Cicero had read it or had said it,
it's a perfect composition. Probably in English, it's probably one of the most perfect speeches of rhetoric ever written.
Yeah, and it was written by a guy who grew up in the sticks.
Yeah,
and who like. He probably didn't sound as when he read it. He probably didn't sound as
7 years ago.
Henry, I forget the title of the movie, but Criterion Collection puts it out. Was it called Lincoln? But Henry Ford played him.
Yeah,
it's really good, and it's about his his sort of rise up to becoming an attorney and talking out against slavery.
I liked the portrayal by Daniel Day-Lewis in that.
Yes,
I thought
he really got into that role.
To me, that's how I would have imagined he would have behaved.
Yep.
Like Mr. Chairman, like that.
Yep.
People would when he first came to New York and he gave his Cooper Union address, like people would they first thought they were going to get a rube from the West. He could say Mr. Chairman. But then again, he was very astute. He was very articulate. He was very precise, and he could turn on like TJ was talking. He could turn on the rhetoric when he had to. Like he could, if you read, like the Emancipation Proclamation is very, very dry, very legalistic, and because Lincoln deliberately wanted it that way. He wanted it to be a very legal document that would stand up to judicial review, and it was only meant to apply to certain circumstances. But when he wanted to really turn on the rhetoric, he could do that.
See, that's what kind of amazes me about his second inaugural. I was doing a live stream about Lincoln, and people want to talk about his politics or they want to talk about his stances on stuff, and I said, my views on him have really changed as I get older because I look at how people behave when they're in power, but also when they're in victory. And if you could look at it, how does someone behave when they defeat an enemy?
Right.
Do they behave magnanimously or do they behave like ruthlessly, right?
Right.
And that's not, obviously we know how Lincoln behaved. So I just think that like that stuff, like that kind of moral restraint, like Grant. I remember reading about Robert E. Lee. Like Lee would never allow any unkind word about Grant to be said in his presence because of the way that they behaved during the surrender. And you had like guys like Joshua Chamberlain, who was at the surrender, who like had his men salute the surrendering armies. And then Abe Lincoln Platt, when they won the war, he had them play Dixie, his in Washington D.C. Like that kind of almost chivalry, like military, like traditional chivalry.
Well, he was still saluting the enemy's bravery and courage.
Yeah, it's like that's totally gone by these people. Like where they don't, they don't care.
Yeah, I do want to switch gears real fast. I know we're going in the complete opposite direction, but that's how we are at Masculine Geek. We talk about everything and anything. So, Quintus, you're also a painter.
Well,
you dabble, right?
It's a hobby of mine, and I've put out a few pieces, really just, for myself and to anyone who's interested. I've got the Moonlight Baboon.
Yes, that's what I want to talk about. Moonlight Baboon. I love it. I got to get it. But you know what? I chose a very strange size. I got one of the larger sizes, the 24 by 24.
Oh, nice.
So I got to get a frame made for it so I can put it up behind me here. So
it's a pretty high resolution too. I'm impressed.
It's really good.
You did a very good job. Yeah, I'm working on another one right now. It's going to be Sunset Baboon.
I saw you're beginning to that.
Yeah. I'd say another 10 days, another 7 to 10 days. It should be ready. But it's looking pretty dark. I mean, in the sense that it's I like it, but it has an apocalypse flavor to it that I don't know if everyone's going to really be warming. But then again, Moonlight Baboon is kind of, I've been told that it's kind of sinister. I mean, someone described
it kind of is actually
painting, and I don't know. They just these things just kind of come to you. There's not really a way. That painting in particular, that image, there was a photograph that I found of a proboscis monkey jumping, and then there was a moon, and I took that image or something similar to that, and I kind of crafted a jungle scene around it with a river, and the overall effect is pretty kind of intense. It's pretty. I'm happy with. I'm very happy with how it came out.
It looks really good. Now, did the G Manifesto have any motivation behind it?
Well, he had no input into it, but when I was done with it, getting his approval was important to me.
Okay.
Because he kind of started that baboon, sunset baboon, and he and I kind of have this, I don't know what you call it, but a kind of I don't know what's the right word, sort of a symbiotic relationship where I kind of key off his. Like I first started doing podcasts about his, because the funny thing about the G Manifesto is, first of all, he never breaks character. When I talk, he never breaks character. So it's always this. He's always the G Manifesto. But when I first started reading his stuff, these tweets, a couple of years ago, I didn't like it. I thought, what is this bullshit? It's all this, no one is talking about this. No one is getting this. No one is talking. So what do you mean? What isn't the? And then you know what? Somehow I still not sure how something clicked. Something just a switch just went off, and I said, this is awesome. This is brilliant. I love this stuff. This is great. It's like sort of a surreal. Well, I'm not gonna. You've heard it all before. I've done podcast after podcast about it. So
it was so good, yeah.
So I just really enjoy. And he's a nice guy. I mean, he's just a guy that just he likes to have fun. There's enough truth to. All he does is he takes real life situations, the things that he does in his life. He likes to serve. He has an active social life. He likes to do things. He lives in a cool city, and he's just one of these guys who just likes to just riff. He's just like a jazz player who's just playing saxophone.
Very mischievous, yeah.
Yeah, he's just doing his thing, and so I don't know. That kind of stimulated. I kind of like the idea of these monkeys and apes looking off into the sunset. I don't know. There's a real sense of freedom you get when you see a monkey leaping in the branches. It's a
right. Yeah.
People say, "What does it mean? What does it mean? What are you talking about?"
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that's like what. And there was some girl on Twitter who was like, we do these very weird tweets, like, and to people who are not read into the joke, whatever you want to call it. It looks really weird, like, no one is really getting what the fuck, what are you talking about? Moonlight what is baboons? What is this? And then it's like, we're just expressing our zest for life. We're expressing our joie de vivre. We're just trying to express. It doesn't have not everything has to have a meaning. Okay. And then we've talked about this. All these soy-lennials, I would tell Michael, every one of these soy-lennials, everything is literal. Everything has to have a literal meaning. Like, what does it mean? Or
literally,
they have no ability to detect poetic, because they don't read much. No. They read, or they have no ability to detect hyperbole or poetic license or jokes.
Rhetoric.
It goes right over the head. So they're over here trying to, what does this mean? I mean, this can't be,
what is the author?
Custom suit. A real custom suit is going to cost me, talking. That's all.
They don't get the Allegra de Vita, that joy of life.
A code word for capitalism, like, and this.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, look, but you know what? You got to be patient with people. They'll discover it
first, retards.
Either they'll discover it or they won't. Either they're going to get it or they don't get it.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
It's just so no. He didn't really have any input. I just do these. I do these. I just call them by these names that baboon sons. And he started. He started. I think he used sunset, and that, of course, that's. I'll be the other guy in the jazz band, and then I'll take my trumpet, and then he'll do his. So we're like two. We're two guys in the band.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
People thought that I was him. They're like, no, I know you guys are the same. It's like, dude, we're not this. I'm just a guy who's enthusiastically doing this, and it's contagious. Enthusiasm is contagious, because then everybody else started doing it.
It's got a cult. It's got a cult following.
So it's out there now. All this soy. All this soy stuff.
Eating soy brunches.
He may not have been the first person to use. It's debatable. I don't think he was the very first, but he was one of the first. And I was one of the first to amplify it over and over and over and over again, so that it's out there now. It's out there.
That's like the word pudwack now.
I love like the before the smoking ban. That's my favorite.
Yes.
That's his. Yeah. See, again, I'm not a smoker, and I'm not going to literally endorse that, but I think what you have to do is you have to look beyond that. What he's trying to say is, life in the old days, embrace the old school way of doing things. Okay. If someone wants to be a smoker, that's fine. It's their business. It's not my business to lecture somebody about, if somebody wants to enjoy themselves recline with tobacco, and fine, that's fine. I mean, I like a good cigar every now and then. I'm not a big, but that's, whatever. That's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's, again, you have to take the good with the bad. That's how it goes. So
absolutely.
I think what really bothers the whole smoking ban thing that really kind of gets me is that smoking cigarettes is bad, but being a total pudwack is okay.
Exactly.
Like, that's the problem. It's like being a coward, a loser, a shyster, a charlatan, a fraud. That's okay. Just don't smoke a cigarette when you do.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. And you know, all I can say, TJ, is we've just got to start. We will have accomplished something if we can just raise the issue that these things exist. That, you know, if you can just make it known that there is such a thing as a standard, there is a standard for character, for virtue. There are qualities, there are traits. Just by being able to say that is a victory, and that's really all you. That's all you can do, you know. And guys, some guys are going to be inspired by it, and some guys are going to get it, and some of them may not. But you know, even those at some point in their life they will, and that's the real great thing about great works of literature is you'll revisit it at different points in your life. It may not mean something to you at some stage, but if you put it aside and go back, I mean, I listened to an audiobook of Robinson Crusoe a couple months. I just finished up Moby Dick on an audiobook. Oh, it's just so great. You know, I mean, there's parts that are kind of, you know, drag, boring, but the overall effect is very, very impressive. But Robinson Crusoe is also such an awesome book, and so many. It's a real spiritual classic too. I would recommend anybody to check it out. But hey, you know, I do my best, guys. That's all I can do. I put it out there. I can throw the seeds out there in the field.
Throw the bone.
And if the seeds germinate, great. If they don't, then maybe next year. You know, next season.
Well,
No,
your work is definitely caught hold. That's for sure.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And just everyone in the chat. I mean, just Rob and TJ and I've been following you for years. We were Twitter friends for years with my personal Twitter account, and then
you've been I did that, Vince. You've been a diehard. You've been a diehard supporter for a long time, and I would thank you. I appreciate that, and I wouldn't be anywhere. You know what little things I've done that have resonated would be nothing if I didn't have people to read it and to endorse it. So I you know, it's I who owe you guys thanks, because otherwise I'd just be a voice screaming to the empty walls,
screaming into the void.
Into the void.
Right.
Yep.
As Rob would say. Yeah. No, you're definitely reaching people. Now, you may not hear it all the time, but we're out here and we're listening. I mean, we're the same age, but I still, with your work, your essays, and your own support of myself, I mean, I consider you a mentor. I mean, that's just the way it is. Of course,
I do my best, man, and all I can say is the principles the things I tried to adhere to when I first started is like, never try to be something you're not. You know, I'm not a guy who can sit there and talk about, you know, weight. I mean, I'm in shape, but I'm not like a professional. I'm not a fitness guy. I'm not gonna. All I could do is tell you what worked for me. But there are other guys that do, you know, diet and fitness better. I'm not. You know, what I can do is I can talk about intellectual topics, subjects, you know, translations, you know, essays, things like that. And you know, I've tried to never be something I wasn't. Always follow through, work hard for people, consistently put the message out, work hard, and I'm going to continue to do that because I really do enjoy. It really makes me feel, and this is, believe me when I tell you this, but some of the best emails I've ever gotten was when somebody says, you know, I never liked this subject or that subject, but I got your book and I finally could understand, you know, on moral ends. I read it and I really like this, you know, and that really makes me feel like I've you know, accomplished something, and it's a very, very good, and I think any teacher can relate to that, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just and you got another thing, you got to keep laughing. Yeah, and I really mean it. You know, laughing, having a good. Because I said this before. On some of these guys on Twitter, you look at, they have no sense of humor. Everything they do, even these gurus, like, who I will not name. I will not name these gurus. There's no self-effacing. There's nothing crazy. There's no zany. I mean, they take themselves so seriously, and a lot of them, they're not bad guys, but I think they just take themselves way too seriously. I think you've got to, at some point, you've got to laugh. You've got to have a good, because otherwise things just get too heavy, and people are going to just get. We're all going to go crazy. So you got to, I try to mix things up with jokes, with memes, and I really, I really think the G Manifesto, a lot of it's fun and jokes, but there's a positive. Ultimately, there's a positive message through all the zaniness. It's live life, live your life, focus on the things that are important. Some of the stuff, I will tell you this, that custom suit, that is great. That stuff is gold. I mean, if you
it's classic.
Any suit in general is going to work, but if you can actually get a custom suit and go swimming in it, thing, but it works, and
fending off the sharks,
right? It's fun. It's an ethic that, especially young guys, need to. You gotta. If I were to go on and just tweet quotations from, Cicero and Aurelius and Seneca, people would just be like, "Geez, I'm ready to blow my brains out here, dude." It's like, fuck. It's like, give me something to chew on here. So you've got to kind of inspire people, and you've got to know how to different subjects. I like to talk about great explorers too, like travelers, explorers, writers. Because I felt like I was always inspired by some guy going to some Timbuktu and starving on the way. Nobody talks about these guys anymore. You never hear about them. No. And that's what I tried to put in Digest. I tried to include a whole section on travel and exploration. Yeah. And and these obscure Arab and Persian philosophers, and no one even talks about. And
you haven't heard about them at all, no.
There's a lot of great wisdom. There's a lot of great wisdom there. These guys are, and it's nice to hear things in different formats and different ways. So my message would be the same. Enjoy life. Life is short. We've all got to try to find ways to solve problems. And you've got to keep a good attitude. You got to stay positive, because otherwise it's just darkness. You've got to you have to keep moving. You have to.
You need a little bit of fun and laughter. Absolutely.
You can't allow yourself to get consumed by bitterness. You can't allow yourself to get consumed by hatred or poison or bitterness, because it becomes a bottomless. There's no end to it. There's no end to it. There's no end to it, and it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do anybody any good. So anyway, guys, that's
now
there it is. Hey.
That's it. We're done. Well, two things. Are you doing a G Manifesto tweet anytime soon?
Man, I've gotten a couple questions about that, or reading. I probably should. I'm due for one, but I've done like 5 of them. I'm starting to worry they're getting a little bit played out, but apparently the guys like it. I'll continue to do it if guys.
Oh yeah, you know what the best thing is when you start laughing. It's infectious. Everybody else, I start laughing at that shit.
I know. I'm all right. I should do it. Yeah, I did one.
Please do. Yeah, they're so funny.
It was like the lockdown edition. That's what it was.
You should. Oh yeah. That was good.
Lockdown edition. Yeah.
It's so fucking hysterical.
Like, oh yeah, some of them are just now, comma. This is not the real way to go through life.
This is no way to go through life.
Fragment that means nothing, like
Yep. And sometimes it'll get cut off, so you have to guess the word. Yeah.
Right. And the picture sometimes can make it, just like the picture has nothing to do with the tweet. Mm-hmm.
No, it's just fucking random, basically.
Yeah, or it's like, this is a picture of me doing this, and it's some piece of artwork.
This actually happening.
Yep, this is me doing this.
Most are not getting the random capitalizations. It just adds to the whole weirdness of it. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, this stuff is awesome. I love, again, at first I didn't like it, but then, man, it just some people don't. Some people even now they don't like it. They think this is just bull. I said, dude, either you like it or you don't. Either you get it or you don't, and that's fine. It's not for everybody, every taste. But you know, he's and he's in his late 40s. He's
our age.
Gen Xer, yeah.
Okay.
He grew up in the 70s, so he's.
You can tell by the context and
the
tone. Yeah.
I've been trying to get him. I've asked him, I've begged him. I said, please start writing again, man. We got to just.
Well, he has the website. Yeah,
he's got a website. I think he probably will. He's kind of leaned towards it, and I said, look, it doesn't matter what subject, it's anything. Like, you know,
just talk about before the smoking ban.
I said, yeah, talk about like your surfing experience, the time a sea turtle saved you.
I think it's because it's so
sea turtle savior.
I love him.
And I think that's what I like about reading this stuff. It's like
this is a sea turtle. I love them. I want to hug them and squeeze them.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
If it puts a smile. If it doesn't put a smile on your face, there's something wrong.
Yeah. No. I just don't
exactly.
think. And the best thing again, it's just these dweebs who just think that it means. What does it mean? You know,
it's a great. It's
what it means. Like,
it's a great test. Well, the people that get it are the people you want around you, not for anyone. I mean,
you can't.
It's like a litmus test. G-Man, you find this guy funny? Well, I don't understand what it is. Yeah, you're done.
You're done. Get out of here. Look, just get out of here.
That's hilarious. All right, you're in.
I'll do that over the next week. I'll get one of those out.
Please do. They're great.
I gotta kind of psych myself up. I gotta get in the right mood. I have to get in bumptious mood for it. You know, I've got to have the right frame of mind so I can get the laughing.
There you go. We'll definitely think of this episode while you're doing that, because it'll be good.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Oh, real fast, is there anything you're working on now? You just finished Lives of the Commanders, right?
Yeah. There's another translation I'm working on now. I don't want to announce the title of it yet. I probably will. Maybe in a couple months when I get a little bit. But I'm working my way through it. It's it's like these things are very arduous. It's gonna it'll be done. It won't be finished. It won't be released until we're well into 2021, the coming year. But it's a relatively long work, and these things, to do them the way they should be, each one of these takes like a year and a half. It takes daily effort, but that's the way it should. That's the way it should be, and I enjoy doing it. It's a very kind of a meditative exercise for me, and I'm excited. I just love putting it together. I'm going to have some illustrations in it. I'm going to have.
You have some maps.
I'm going to have some special things. Well, it's not going. It's going to be a philosophical work, so it's not going to need maps, but it's going to have other illustrations, and it's going to be copiously annotated and explained. And I'm doing it in such a way that I'm really working on making the language sparkle so that it's something that really lasts for a long time. So but yeah, I've always got something working on and that I'm working on, and I got to maintain the blog as well. Keep getting stuff up there as well. So it's but it's great. I enjoy doing it, and it's who I am now. So it's this such is the will of fate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's cool, and that's what I liked about on Moral Ends too, is the richness of it as well. Not just your translations, but the added features and bonuses you had to that. And I'm a huge map head. You may or may not know, I collect local New Jersey maps. I love maps. I still do orienteering. I know how to read a compass. I like to go out into the woods, and I mean that's an important skill I think every man should have.
Yeah.
But that's always been an attraction for me. So anytime someone's got a fucking map in their book, I'm there. I have a magnifying glass and these huge old maps. I could spend hours just poring over them and just enjoy. I love it.
Maps are great. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they are. Yeah. They really are great. I've got a few myself, and it does add. It's nice to see everything kind of laid out there. It's a piece of history. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, I'll think about it. It's
Please do. Yeah,
you're under advisement.
cool. Yeah, because then when you start collecting them, especially if you're like from New Jersey, the old gasoline gasoline maps.
Oh wow, yeah.
I collect those. I have them back to the 30s, all the way up until I forget when they stopped making them, like the late 70s, early 80s. So you can see the landscape and like historical sites as far as like points of interest,
Right.
and town names change over
Wow.
the decades. And just to see that it just fascinates me. Something about that resonates.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
great, man. No, maps are yeah, it's a good, why are they so attractive to us? Why is that? It's a
Yeah,
good
right.
question. I don't know. It's maybe it ties into this primal urge that males feel to explore, to seek out vistas, and to hunt, and to trek through to go on these treks. Yeah, it's it probably ties into a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely. And that's an interesting point too. Do you think that's an issue with men today? We don't have that. I mean, it's in our blood to do those things. But we don't have those great quests anymore, or we don't make them for ourselves.
No,
we've got video games and TV and soy flicks and all this other shit.
We don't spend we don't spend nearly enough time outdoors. We don't spend nearly enough time or even learning how to land navigate. You're learning how to use a map and a compass. I mean, how many people, 1 out of 10,000 probably know how to do that.
Yeah.
It's becoming a lost art. We don't spend nearly enough effort. So you're right. And I had a lot of exposure to that when I was in the military, but that was a long time ago. I wish I could do more. I probably should do more, but I love to go hiking and explore, national parks and things like that. I try to integrate that as much as I can into my life, but guys need to being able to find your way around. It's a matter of life and death. I think I put out on Twitter just a couple days ago. Last year, I was just curious to see what had happened to a friend of mine that I knew in college.
Mm-hmm.
I just, sometimes you just Google somebody's name to see what comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy came up, and I won't give too many specifics, just on the offhand chance I don't want to embarrass the guy's family or anything. But he had lived a very successful guy, lived in a mountainous area. I guess he was out hiking with a friend or something, and I guess they got lost, and a snowstorm came in, and I guess his friend made it out, but he died of exposure.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that had a family, 4 kids, and really sad. Really sad.
Oh,
and
fuck.
Yeah, I guess it happens. People get lost in the wilderness. People get lost.
Yeah, we don't think of it because we live kind of, sort of insular lives with technology and whatnot. You don't think that it can happen today.
Yeah. But you should. There was a series of TV shows. I think Bear Grylls did remember that British dude, these like Get Out Alive or something, or Forest, or I can't remember. There was like a series of these reality shows. I think it was on I can't remember what channel it was on. It was a couple of years back. Like they'd put him in this terrain somewhere, and he'd have to get out within a few days. They showed him in these different terrains, and it was interesting to watch that. But yeah. So
cool.
There it is.
Yep, that's it. And we're coming up close to the 2-hour mark, and we want to keep you too long. We know your time is valuable, and we're all old and tired. So,
well, hey, thanks for having me, Vince. I really appreciate you guys letting me come here and just ramble on ad nauseum about things. But
no, this is great. And where can everyone find you?
My website is www.qcurtius.com. That's
Rob, you want to throw that up in the chat?
Thanks. Yeah, QCURTIUS.com. Quintus Curtius is the name I use to write. My real name is George Thomas. It's on all my books and on my Amazon author site. It's just I started doing that years ago, and somehow it just caught on. So cool. It's just one of those pen name things. But that's where you can find me.
Gotcha. Was Quintus Curtius a real person, or is that an amalgam of
he
names?
was a real historian. He wrote a history of Alexander, but again,
Okay.
I wish I could tell you there was a rational reason behind that. I looked over my bookshelf and I just said, well, that sounds
Nice.
you know, a lot of times these things, they just reach out and grab you. It just happens, and
Yeah.
it's like an idea. It's like you just take an idea and you run with it, and that's how it is.
It works because you actually know how to write Latin.
Yeah, that's right.
You actually know how to translate this stuff. It's like you're not. It's not like one of these.
There's proof of purchase. Yeah.
It's not like one of these pudwacks on Twitter.
The right way to say it, I've earned the right to use that.
Exactly.
I've earned it.
That's true. Yeah.
Through bitter and brutal struggle. So it's there's different schools of thought. But the use of pen names is a accepted literary convention. I mean, people still, it's been done. It's not done for any, sinister motive. It's just sometimes it's nice to separate. And frankly, it's just practical reasons too. Sometimes if you start out using something, and if you all of a sudden switch, although on one book, I was a contributing writer to a book put out by the Small Wars journal called the Plutocratic Insurgency.
Oh yeah.
And they have a policy where they only want people's actual, like, you cannot write under you cannot use an alias there. And I said, fine, I don't care. My real name is George Thomas. You can just put that out there. But that's I know all my books I've got. So there's nothing sinister about it. It's just, again, it's sometimes just how life develops that way,
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
But anyway, guys, I really enjoyed talking to you all, and
same here.
Keep laughing, keep the morale up.
keep the fires burning, keep moving forward. Yeah.
Keep the pudwacks on their toes.
You got all my little sayings down. That's right.
We do. Yes. Yes.
Keep the morale up. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, George.
Take care, guys.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye. Cool.
Good guest.
Yep, that was a great episode.
Yes, it was.
Jesus, it's Safety Doc over here showing himself in the fucking chat. All right, Doc. I'll forward your information to Quintus. I can't promise anything because he is his own man. So, everyone, I will make sure. I got to get back on the SoundCloud updating, but this will come out as an MP3. But yeah, go back and watch this again. This is a good one, and I'm sure we'll have him on again.
We gotta have Pudwax round 2, man. I'm telling you.
We gotta do Pudwax round 2. A Pudwax shirt. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Pudwax. No just Pudwack with the no sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yeah, this was fun. It was good having him on here. And Quintus, we're very fortunate. Quintus does not give interviews for just anyone.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that guy's great.
Yeah, that was fun. So, all right. Any questions in the chat, or we're gonna call it a night soon, gentlemen? I'm fucking tired. It's been a long day. You guys got any questions? Anything you want us to talk about? We got not technically 9 minutes. So, fire away. I'm going to pour myself some more wine, though. Listen to that. Listen. It's like somebody's pissing in the background.
Damn it, now I gotta go.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Sal was a good guest, too. We're gonna have him on again. I was just in a Telegram talk with him earlier today, actually. Talking about all the insanity. Number 12.
Which one was that one?
I don't remember. I think it was probably when you were drunk. What kind of wine, Bacon? This is called Scarlet Vine. It's a Cab Sauv Sauvignon. And this is it's a Chilean wine. I really like Chilean wines, South American wines, because of the minerals that are in the water that goes into the the production of the wine. So, Bullrush, what's going on with the Masculine Geek Life Say? What do you mean? Can you clarify? Because it's up and running. I mean, TJ and I and a few other people have been talking in the forums, and I've been slowly throwing up content. So, do you want?
It was the drunk episode.
It was a drunk episode, yeah. So clarify, Bullrush. Unless you're just bringing that up for us to talk about Masculine Geek Life to plug it. So, and Rob is being lazy. He hasn't stopped into the forums yet.
I have, but I've had nothing to say because you guys have pretty much all covered it.
Well, just say that. Say hi, guys. You're
Hi,
paying
guys.
good money, so I figured I'd come in and
Here
say
I
fucking
am.
hi.
Just say, hey guys, what's up? Hey, do the little hand wave emoji and fucking leave.
There you go, you cock. Or start your own forum threads, your own topic.
Yeah.
You can do that.
What's the current situation in SLC and Utah in general? Salt Lake County,
Oh,
which
thanks, Bullrush.
I live in. Right now, the governor decided to have a mandate where we all have to wear fucking face diapers. So everybody's supposed to wear face diapers in Salt Lake County and in Summit County, which is where Park City is. Some people do, some don't. I do at work only because I don't want some Karen to call up and cry and then I get written up or get fired or some stupid shit. But otherwise, that's kind of what's going on right now because we've had a spike in cases, even though we've had a drop in deaths.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
Yeah. But that's kind of where it's at right now.
Nah.
Now,
So masculinegeek.com is our flagship site. That's the free content. That's where you get all free information. Free content essays there. Masculinegeek.life. TJ, do you want to explain that? You can even read the front page if you wish.
I'll just keep it brief.
All right.
As I am want
to do, which you never do, but go ahead.
It's like a cigar lounge for real men. The 21st century cigar lounge online. So if you like having good conversations over a smoke, what are you waiting for? Get on, do it.
Yep.
You know you want to do it.
That's right. It is.
You do. Like
it's and we'll let them know it's a membership site.
Yeah, it's a membership site, but guess what? It ain't cheap. But
well, for the month of July, it's cheap for where it's.
Yeah, for the 4th of July, it's cheap for all you cheapskates. Get on the site now. Like
That's right.
Stop wasting our time. Stop wasting your time. Get on the site, and you can go. You can talk about stuff. We can talk about stuff. It ain't rocket science here. Like I hate to say this, but like we're ahead of the curve, so you might as well get on board.
That's right. I'll share the homepage.
Yeah, we're getting away from the public Twitter sphere, social media. We're getting away from the Karens, the Pudwacks, the soy millennials, the dumbwads, the whatever you want to call them. We're getting
That's right.
Yeah.
Meow.
It's adorable.
There you go. So Masculine Geek Life is a 21st century men's club, a place for masculine men to interact with one another in a space created by men for men. Here they can enjoy a drink, or 2 or 3, and a smoke while discussing history, guns, literature, women, art, or whatever else inspires them in life. In the detritus of online social media, Masculine Geek Life is a place and refuge for masculine geeks in the same vein as Dr. Johnson's Essex Head Club and Benjamin Franklin's Junto. A place for talkers who are also doers. The way we do this is the same way these traditional gentlemen's clubs operated. Put your money where your mouth is and have skin in the game. Those who want to participate, to speak and be heard, must show they are serious about being here. More than ever, men need a place to congregate, even if virtually, and discuss mutual topics in a venue that isn't controlled or censored. MG Life is the modern version of the ancient Greek agora, which was a place where men We're meant to discuss philosophy, politics, and vote. No censorship, no virtue signaling, no groveling, no deplatforming, no cancel culture, no politically correct bullshit, no nonsense. All masculine geek. Now, there's also, that's right, there's also a BDSM section, which Rob and I are running, and I already have 2 essays up there as well. I'm going to be running probably sometime in the fall video tutorials, as in on the Zoom video, there will be live with one of my girls, bondage techniques and other scenarios. So keep that in mind. Where's the strippers? No strippers. That's Bush League, Bullrush. So that is the Masculine Geek mission. Subscribe page is here. The forum is called the Speakeasy. That's where you can talk, not fear of any kind of censorship or bullshit. Talk freely. No one's going to shout you down, and you're not going to be canceled or have your job in jeopardy. It's $24.99 a month, and it gives you access to the members forum and advance notice on all MG events. Now, the full member access is $59.99 a month, and that gives you access to the members forum. We do a monthly private Q&A Zoom meeting, which is not recorded, completely private. You get access to all the member-only podcast recordings. You get access to the members-only video recordings and tutorials, some of the bondage stuff I was talking about. You'll also get access to the members-only blog posts and essays. And, of course, advance notice to all MG events. Now, if you sign up in the month of July, you will get all that for $29.99 a month. If you have a problem with us capitalizing on our time and attention, I don't give a shit. You can take it up with someone who actually gives a fuck, because I don't.
Look outside into the desert, and you shall see the fields on which we grow. Vince?
Yes. So, correct. If you don't value something, you're not going to put your own time and attention to it. You're not going to value it.
We don't have time for the pud wacks, the soy millennials.
Yeah, Rob, we're the 3 musketeers here, but Rob and TJ and I, we have other concerns. We have full-time jobs. I don't want to be like all woo. We do this out of the goodness of our heart.
No, we don't. But because we
like and we believe in what we're doing. Now, we do have obviously free content. What you're seeing now is free content. We're interacting with you in the chat. Yes.
Yeah.
We have, and the free content on our website will continue to be free, masculinegeek.com. If you want to join Masculine Geek Life, that's going to cost you. And we have several subscribers now who are enjoying the benefits of Masculine Geek Life.
Never do it for free.
Exactly. I mean, that's and it's something Rob pointed out too. He's like, hey, Vince, if you think about it, technically, if you divide anything that we make by 3, we get maybe $20 an hour for our time. So anyone complaining, yeah.
Well, here's the other thing, guys. You all know that we're not ripping anybody off. Like, we're not saying,
no,
buy this, smash this. But you guys know we've been doing this for a year and a half. Like, we're legit.
Yeah. And there are plenty of people that can vouch for us.
Yeah, people, like, we don't have to sell it, because that it kind of sells itself at this point. Like, like, we don't pretend to be something we're not. I don't, or at least I don't. But I can tell you, like, based on what I know of Vince and Rob, like, I've met the guys, I've hung out with them, where they're everything that they say they are. And so what you get from us is authenticity, and that is the coin of the realm. And the thing is, if we don't do this, we're sending a message, the wrong message.
Right.
We're saying, like, we want to deal with people who are serious about what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to join a club that's for free. Are you going to go join let's say you were going to a weight room, like Gold's Gym, and they're like, "Oh, for free, come in." It's like, why is it free?
Yeah.
I'm kind of suspicious.
Well, it is. Yeah, no, it is true. A media hit says it's about the product, and we put out a good product. And Bull Rush is messing with me, but we won't. Anyone wanting to learn about Get Girls right now, we're beyond that. You should already know how to go talk to a woman and interact. Rob and I are doing advanced stuff here with women in the realm of DS and BDSM.
Well, you know what it is? It's like what we're offering is a place for men to speak their mind without worrying about getting fired from their job.
Exactly.
Or getting cancel culture or any of that shit.
Yeah,
the thing I want to add to it and this applies to anyone out there, any group, any guru, whatever. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Exactly.
No one's forcing you to do this. You don't have to. I'm not going to beg you to sign up. It's like sign up or don't.
Exactly.
When you go, where did a lot of the stuff go? Well, now you know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is. This is, pardon me. This is definitely a man's club. If we could do this, and trust me, I have ideas about circumventing certain things and doing this stuff live. But yeah, I mean, we'll have meetups. You'll get advance notice if you join. If you're on the newsletter for free, you'll get advance notice as well. Not as quick as the subscribers, but you'll get a notice as well. But Masculine Geek will be doing meetups when we can. I know it's difficult with everything going on, but we're still doing the Village by the Lake in end of September.
Right.
And on that Saturday, which I believe is September 26th, it'll probably be most of the afternoon and well into the evening. We'll be meeting up with like-minded men such as yourselves. We have one of our pulp writer friends, and he was on Masculine Geek as well, David J. West. He'll be meeting up with us. Get to hang out with him. Get to hang out with us. You get to bask in the Masculine Geek greatness, such as it is. And I do
want to address Bull Rush's question real quick too.
What question is that?
He's saying, "Am I migrating my content to this site?" And right now, right at this moment, everything I'm going to be doing is going to be new content. So right off the bat, no. But am I going to migrate some of my older stuff? I'm not sure if you're talking about my free stuff or if you're talking about Patreon. The Patreon stuff, some of that stuff I've got, I am actually going to migrate that. But that will be for obviously paying people only. I'm not going to give that stuff away for free for all the people who've paid for it in the past.
Exactly.
So, but I will be adding new stuff to this site. When it comes to my free stuff that's always been out there, that I'm probably not going to migrate. I still like having my own banner to fly under for myself as well. I've put too much time and effort into it just to fold it up. The Patreon content at some point, Bull Rush, I am going to move most, if not all of it. Yes.
Cool. We just had someone sign up right now.
Nice.
I'm not going to mention his name in case he wants that's private, but thank you very much. So, yes, any of our old, or no, all of our old, I'm slowly moving it over now. I do have a actual fresh content on BDSM collars and a photo for proof of purchase. I do have that up there now, but all of the old content, all the old podcasts, the cartoon hours, the BDSM adventures that Rob and I are going to do and continue to do, and the Cold War communism stuff that TJ and I do, and the religion and history, all that stuff is all moving over to the subscription site. That's all going to be available to you as well. Yeah. Oh, okay, Nick. Thank you, Nick. So yeah, Patreon, I mean, it was nice. Third party, I didn't have to worry about any kind of back end stuff. It was nice. But first and foremost, I don't like the social justice pandering, number one. And number two, there were functionality issues that were mainly the functionality issues were getting in the way. So this is all now it's all under the umbrella of Masculine Geek. It's under our control. what we say goes. Rob and TJ can post what they need to. In Patreon, if you want to have extra users, you have to have, I think, you have to be bringing in at least $300 a month before you can have extra users.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah. So fuck it. We'll just do this here.
Exactly. So, and Nick, look into your email, because in order to finalize your subscription, you have to verify by email. And part of this too is not only do you have skin in the game and our time is valuable, but you're also proving that you're not a pudwack. Pudwacks aren't going to waste the money. That's just how it is, especially significant amount of money.
Right.
So, and this is like a pre-vetting process, because anyone subscribing and signing up, especially if they're on the Zoom meetings, we get to see you and talk to you face to face. You're automatically vetted for the Masculine Geek events that we have, and those are free. We're not charging it. We're coming out. We're having a good time. We may go hikes, go shooting, go cigar bars, having a beer, hanging out, talking, planning. It's going to be amazing stuff. So, TJ, you have anything to add to that? Yes, Bull Rush, you did subscribe last week. Thank you. My tightwadness. Thank you, Mick.
All I can say is, guys, join. You know what's the right thing to do. We are super. It is happening.
Yeah.
You know it. So join.
Absolutely. It's good stuff. And you get instant access to us. We may even wind up having like a Telegram kind of chat thing going too in the future. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But in the forums, we're TJ and I are in there. Rob needs to get in there.
Hey, you fucking shamed me while you've been over there. Oh, Rob's being a lazy fucker. He's not doing nothing. I went in there.
Rob's got a lot going on. Rob's got
ass.
Rob, is that the world's smallest violin, TJ?
That's a pretty big violin. The smallest felt like this.
It's Aaron jerking off.
No shit. I just went in and made a post on it, so I did. I'm in there. My name's in there.
Oh, that's what we want. We want to see your name as part of the active. Oh, Telegram is like it's a private instant messenger, like a Facebook Messenger without all the bullshit. It's just instant messaging. There's no Facebook attached to it.
Right. You can either message individually if you know other people on Telegram, or you can even have groups like we have one between me, Vince, and TJ.
Yeah. So we may wind up doing that. But the forum is a good place that we speak our minds. We talk about anything. We've already talked about everything and anything. We've been talking about wine and whiskey and cigars and books and pulp. And
movies.
Joe, I talked about holsters. You guys are going to hate my holster post.
Oh boy, you talking about holsters? Shit.
Yeah, you guys are gonna fucking hate my holster post.
Oh god, I should tease everyone with the bondage posts.
God help us.
Yeah, I should tell you. What are you doing, Mowgli? Stop that! My cat is doing some weird ass shit.
I want to be like you.
That's right. All right, I'll throw up. Hang on. Let's tease you, fuckers. Shut up, Mowgli. Jesus Christ.
Shut up, Cinderblock.
God damn. All right, so we share the screen. Do.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's my main groaner collar.
Joe, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it because honestly, my holster is better than whatever you've got. You're gonna hate my post, though. I'm promising you guys. Bull Rush is gonna start pulling out his hair. Joe's gonna pull out his fucking hair. Everyone that's gonna read that's gonna pull out their fucking hair. But I still stand by it.
Yeah, that's all right. It's fun. And then
14 years. So I think I know something about holsters.
And this is holster. He said holster. And this first one, the collar. This is a new one. This the mummification one was from it's from Patreon, but you'll get to read it. So you don't get to read any of this or see these wonderful proof of purchase photos unless you subscribe. So that's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. So you subscribers, enjoy. If you have any questions, you can hit us up in the contact page, or you can reach us through the. I do have a. Here, I'll give you.
Yes and no, Bull Rush. It kind of goes off of what we were talking about, but it's even worse.
Oh boy,
it is. Like I said, people are gonna fucking hate that. They're gonna be like, "You're joking, right?" And I'm not. I'm not fucking kidding.
I look forward to reading it. So we do have some. The forum is called the Speakeasy, and we have or the group, I should say, the main master umbrella forum, and the subtitles and the subforums. We have the pulps, history and religion, tobacco, which deals with all things pipe and cigars, firearms, motorcycles and cars, pop culture, old time radio programs, books and literature, booze, discussions for all things wine and liquor. We ain't got no booze. Film. TJ just posted something called Reassessing Top Gun. We have the Dungeons and Dragons tabletop gaming section. And then there's the MG Dominance, which is predominantly Rob and I will be doing, but TJ will come into this here and there. Section on women, BDSM general discussions, the masculine edge, what it is and how do you create it. And also we post our in the field reports here. And BDSM books, literature, and websites. I'm going to be talking about the navigating the field of BDSM websites and the insanity that can ensue from that. So, yes, good stuff.
Booze.
That's right. So, with that,
no, it's not underwear. Trust me on this. Like I said, you guys will just have to read it. You'll fucking hate it. You'll hate it for a lot of reasons. One of them being all the money you've spent on different holsters. Trust me. Ask me how I know. Okay, you're gonna hate it. You really are. And I know there's a lot of people that.
So basically, you don't use a holster.
Correct.
Ah, okay.
I don't.
Rob shoves it right down his pants.
I do.
He likes that cold, hard steel against his balls.
Balls, crack of the ass, kidney, it doesn't matter.
There you go. You're like, oh, fuck yeah.
Dude, I've carried that way for over 14 years, man. Never had an issue, never had a problem. I gave up on trying to find the perfect holster, and I've tried everything from generic one-size-fits-alls to custom $300 holsters, and it's like, fuck this. So... if criminals and bad guys can do it and not blow their nuts off or blow their ass off, then I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yep.
You'll be all right. Jesus Christ, 20 alerts on fucking Twitter. The fuck's going on over here? Northern Wild, do I have BDSM only content? Yes, I do. There is BDSM only content, which is what I just showed you, the part of it. It'll be separate. So there's a masculine geek is a man of many parts. Okay. He's got what would be called vanilla activities, motorcycles, cars, cigars, books, D&D, anything else. And then you have over on the other side, you've got the BDSM, and that's where Rob and I come in. I've been delving and experiencing the world of BDSM for over 16 years. It goes well, and my interest goes well into young teenager. So I do have some experience in that regard, and I am living it, as Rob and TJ have known and have seen, and as Modern Life John has had me on his webinar where I mummified my main girl live and gave a BDSM talk and demonstration. So, and
everyone in that fucking chat was dead silent.
Yep. You could hear a fucking pin drop.
Yeah, everyone was furiously taking notes or furiously doing something.
Yeah, masculine geeks. We are. We don't call. I mean, I'm not going to walk around going, "Oh, I'm a Renaissance man." No, I'm not going to do that. But someone else, Bullrush, points out, yes, hey, these guys, they're interesting men. They do a lot of things, and naturally, that's going to attract other men of value for comradeship and brotherhoodship and friendship. And it's going to attract women. It's going to entrap them. It's going to attract a muse. And I talk about the muse and the need for a man to have a muse in the Masculine Geek book coming up. Surely we need to get on RJ's ass with the book cover too. God damn it. So You're welcome. You're welcome, D. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff with the and the essays aren't going to be just about BDSM. We've got books, literature. There will be stuff on women. There will be stuff on all hobbies and games and things of that nature. So that will be behind the paywall in addition to the speakeasy, the Zoom meetings. We have a business account with Zoom, so that means we can have up to 100 people in the group interacting. You can ask us questions. We'll talk about anything, everything. No censorship.
Right.
No one's shutting us down. You don't have to worry about monetization, demonetization. You've already paid the subscription. You come in, we talk till whenever. There's no time limit. It's till whenever, and you get us for that entire time. Excuse me. So your sex is too vanilla. You learn how to. Yeah.
Read Mick Tuvas's comment.
I think, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be out before Rollo's book because it's almost. I mean, TJ's done writing. He may have one or two more things to contribute. He's editing for us. He's written a good portion of it. Rob's thrown some good stuff in there. I have a couple chapters. I'm still tooling 2 of them. The Muse chapter's almost done. I got to go back and write the Pulp and Doc Savage one. Finish it actually, and then I got to get on our book cover. There's a lot of stuff that goes in the back workings of Masculine Geek that nobody sees. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just letting you know. So it's a slow process. It's one step at a time. And I love it, but it's like it takes up a lot of time. It's like Quintus says, 4-hour work week. You know, get the fuck out of here. You're always on. You're always thinking of something. There are times when I'll have like insomnia and I'll get up and I'll write and I'll go do something that's related to Masculine Geek. Why? Because I like it. Do I care about money? Well, yes. Is that our goal? No. We want to interact and help and create great friendships and brotherhoods with you, gentlemen.
Amen.
That's what it's all about. When is it? Hey, not for anything, not for nothing. We were talking about that with not only with wine or some kind of alcohol, but with also with cigars. Did TJ freeze?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay, you look like a cardboard cutout for a moment.
There, it's just my game.
Yeah.
Say when.
Say when. Stephen, let me TJ and I were talking about this a little while ago about guys that were into geek kind of stuff. It's really like the style and how you do it. If that's a small portion of what he does and he's taking care of business and doing other shit, fine, fuck it. But if that's all this fucker does and he's going nuts and he's going to flutter himself out the window because he's talking about this shit, then there's a problem. Absolutely.
We got ourselves, Houston, we got a problem.
There you go. And MG, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be working on over the next couple of years. That's just going to be pretty interesting. We have T-shirts up. If you guys actually go look at the Masculine Geek site, and there's a T-shirt link. Have any of you bought any? No, but to be fair, neither have I. So we need to buy them and represent.
There you go.
But,
hey, Bacon, Butthurt Hefeweizen, that actually is a thing. There is an individual who is actually making that. From what I've heard, there is a possibility that individual and the Butthurt might actually make it to the village by the lake.
Oh, okay.
So
it'll be good to meet this gentleman. I'm looking forward to shaking his hand and having a beer with him and some Butthurt.
Right. Same here.
Yep. Oh, thank you. Thank you, D. Northern Wild. Do you like to go by Northern Wild or D? I know you by D from Twitter. It's up to you. Whatever you identify as is fine with me. But you have Northern Wild in your Periscope name. So go into Redbubble and look up Mask. But you can go on the website and you find that. We have a bunch of other stuff too. There's a fucking shower curtain. I think there's a mouse pad and a couple other stuff. I was just fooling around with it. No, don't get me wrong. These sites are nice because it all the overhead is taken care of by, either Cafe Press or Red Bull. Well, it's funny. We were going to go with Cafe Press, and I uploaded our artwork, which is behind Rob and on our website header, and it was denied. And I'm like, well, what the? It violates our. Well, why? Oh, it depicts their guns.
Jesus.
It's a fucking illustrate. It's a cartoon fucking gun. What are you talking about? Stupid.
Pudwack.
Basically, Pudwax. Yeah.
Spurs.
All right, Northern Wild. I will call you by Northern Wild. That goes. That's a good one. And I think I seem to recall you putting up. You had a logo.
Never Cry Wolf.
Never Cry Wolf. That's right. Never Cry Wolf. You fuckers. So D. Okay, well I'll call you D. I like D. D. It reminds me of Vampire Hunter D. So
Right.
I say that. It's kind of, you haven't seen that, have you, TJ?
What?
Vampire Hunter D. That's an old.
No, but I bet you've never read Never Cry Wolf.
Who?
It's a book.
No. What are you talking about?
Never Cry Wolf was a book written by a Canadian naturalist.
Oh, okay.
So D's from Canada.
He is from Canada, yeah.
Yeah.
There's Canucks.
I was making a reference. When I said Never Cry Wolf, I was like making a reference. God, good Lord. I'm done.
Never mind, TJ. You ruined it. You ruined it.
Who's the other guy who would appreciate it? Ryan. Ryan, if you listen to this, you appreciate
Ryan does it. Ryan's too good for it. He doesn't. He's like this. He's too good for us. He doesn't listen to us. No, Rich Cooper. He sometimes.
He's a Canuck too.
He's a Canuck. He sandbags on our periscopes. He watches, and so does Rollo. Rollo and Rich Cooper like go back and stalk our periscopes.
Can I do this? Let me do this for a second.
Sure. Oh God! Don't take your pants off.
Yeah. No.
Somebody take TJ.
Yeah, no shit. Give it a chocolate aftertaste, like just a hint of chocolate and a hint of coffee, and make that fucker darker than dark. We're talking like black tar.
And just call is it dark in here?
Well, that's what it would say. It'd say the Rob says stout, and then underneath it'd say, "Is it dark in here?"
Dark in here? Did it just get dark in here? That's awesome. Well, what TJ sent me I don't know whether it's a whiskey or what. It's a liquor, and it's called Toxic Masculinity.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. TJ, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, he can't hear you. He took his earbuds out, but he left his fucking microphone on.
Jesus. Let me mute his ass. There you go.
See if he catches how quick it is. If he's like Aaron, if he picks up on it quick enough.
All right. He knows. Good. All right. What do you got? What do you got for us? Farley Mowat, Never Cry Wolf. Okay. No, he was a Canadian. And what did he do?
He's a naturalist.
He's a naturalist. Okay.
And that was given to, ironically enough, to my one of my grandparents.
This is a jizz-free ficus.
Yeah, it was back when I was born.
Oh shit! Is that? Wait, you were born in '87?
Yeah.
I was 17. Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
I know. I'm almost old enough to be your dad.
Here's the naturalist on the back.
Oh well, he looks like one. He definitely has proof of purchase.
He's got the beard.
There you go, Mountain Pass IPA.
Somebody was mentioning Never Cry Wolf. I think it was Ron. I was like, yeah, I have that book. I've read it, so I know what I'm talking about. I've read medical literature. I also know about Barrett's Privateers, which, if you're not Canadian, you probably have no idea who Stanley Rogers is.
The name isn't remembering.
Yeah, you probably don't know who he is.
I don't know.
Sorry, Stan Rogers, but Stanley Rogers, yeah. We'll have to play it later. Not right now. It's past the 2.5 hour mark.
We can still hang on for a few more minutes. Quintus, just go onto your Twitters. Everyone go onto your Twitters and check out Quintus's. Go follow Quintus Curtius all one word, at Quintus Curtius on Twitter. Go follow him and retweet his tweet of tonight's show. Go do that. That's your homework right now, gentlemen. Go do that.
Good Lord. What is this?
Vietnam aesthetic.
What's that?
Ah, there it is.
What in the hell? What is this? Pushbackery. What the? Too many Pudwacks.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun. So for all those of you who think, oh, we can hack TJ's Twitter account, good luck. Shit ain't happening. You can't do anything. It's hard enough for me to get into my own accounts. I got like triple. What's going on here? What's going on here, boy?
What? I just retweeted that.
Funny.
Someone actually asked, "What is a muse?" On my tweet. Every man needs a muse. It's like, I get it.
You got a whack actually asking that.
It's like you have. If you're on the internet asking these questions, you can get on the internet and ask that question to the Google.
Yeah, it's called Google.
Use your fucking fingers.
Fucking dumbass.
Fucking
like the Music Man, you know. Instead of the librarian lady, just Google that. You know.
That's right. Now I would say don't use Google for everything, but
no,
you guys going out? No, you got
go or something for fuck's sake.
Adrian, if you're on now, thank you for watching it. We're going to have Adrian on and Jose, two Twitter personalities. We're going to have them on in August. They're pretty cool. They're cool dudes. That's right. Everyone watching right now, who's in the, we have 22 people watching. Go follow Quintus Curtius and go retweet. Get the word out there. It was a great show. You do not want to miss it. And smash that fucking like button. God damn it. You're like a bunch of little retarded kids. If you smash the like button and you're not a retarded kid, you're fine. It's funny. I think I mentioned this before. I was at a friend's house, and it was like somewhere around Christmas or New Year's or some shit. This is years ago. We were just kind of hanging out, watching TV. We played a couple board games and shit, just relaxing. And there was something about the game that I just thought was ridiculous. And I'm like, this is fucking retarded. And my buddy's friend, this ridiculous female next to me, this overeducated pudwack, she's like, oh, clutched her pearls. You can't say that. I'm like, what? Are you retarded? No, that's offensive. To who? Who? What? No, it has nothing to do with anyone who's mentally disabled. Okay, the word. It's not. It's not. It used to be a. I'm a retarded. I can't help it. That's right. We're not mocking people with mental disabilities. Would I call someone who had Down syndrome a retard? I have a cousin who has Down syndrome. Would I say that? No. But people who do dumb shit that aren't retarded are retarded. It's like the word gay. You're not gay, but you're wearing something gay. If you can wrap your fucking head around that, then you're good. Then you're not retarded. Right. That's what it is. Anyone who gets offended about that, it's time and time again. It's middle-aged white woman.
Oh God!
And that's what this person was. Not only was she a middle-aged white woman, she was a professor, and not economics, like a health, like a department, like a worldwide international health professor. What the fuck does that actually have to do with anything? Nothing. Survived on grant money, whatever. And you're gonna worry about the word retard. Unbelievable. So I just laughed at it. You have to ignore these people. You have to demonstrate with your behavior what you think of them. So from that point out, the rest of the evening, I ignored her. Exactly. Well, that's the problem. We got into this this post World War II. After we got past the whole behavioralist style of dealing with any kind of psychological disorder, we got into these soft, abstract psychological, sociological studies. It started to get really stupid, where you got the feelings over facts are more important. How does it feel? How does it feel? Yeah. All right. Well, that's fine if there's a trauma, or someone just died, or maybe you've broken up with a significant other. But on a daily basis, constantly basing your life choices on how you feel is a recipe for disaster. And we're seeing this play out in real fucking time. The media panders to it, politicians pander to it, and it's getting fucking tiring. There's a lot of spurgs and retards out there, gentlemen. You have to guard against them. Marty has a statement for you, TJ.
What?
Yes, Bacon, I know. I spent 12 years in the psych field dealing with said people. I'll probably go into either a post or maybe talk about it on Masculine Geek sometime about my experiences dealing with. I used to work for a crisis house called Drink Mental Health, so I have some stories to tell about that. An albino Asian, an albino Asian.
You were saying.
Yeah, the Karen repellent Pilsner.
Bacon's been live with some of these ones for these different types of beers and whatnot. He's had some good ones.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, guys. I need to go to bed.
Yeah, we're gonna call it. So, everyone, where can they find you, TJ?
tjmartinell.com.
Excellent, Rob.
RobSays.net.
Okay, you can find me 2 places now: masculinegeek.com and masculinegeek.life, the subscription site. Go join. You will not be disappointed. We produce an excellent product. And on that note, gentlemen, we may have something this weekend for you. We'll see. We may do a rogue broadcast. Our rogue broadcasts seem to be fairly popular. TJ and I will definitely be doing, and maybe even Rob and I as well, stuff for the subscription site this weekend or early next week. We'll see. We'll keep you all posted. And until then, as Quintus Curtius says, as we say here at Masculine Geek, keep the fires burning, keep moving forward. Until then.